Welcome back to Racing TV, and I said before that little tease about the Betfair Chase on Saturday. We've got some breaking news, and with that, I'm delighted to say in the studio I'm joined by Lydia Hislop and Ruby Walsh. Lydia, tell us more.
Hi, Niall. People will already know that the Road to Cheltenham column has moved and it's now got a new home on racingtv.com. And so the idea is that I spend Monday and Tuesday pouring out my innermost cherished thoughts about horse racing. They're published on Wednesday on rtv.com, and Ruby trashes it on a Thursday.
Perfect.
I don't know about trash it, but I'll pick it apart anyway. I do agree with some of the stuff you wrote this week. I won't trash it all, but there's other parts that would have to be questioned.
I think it's going to be filleted regularly.
You like it, you will clash, as in you'll love it, won't you?
Yeah. There's going to have to be a referee, I think, don't you think?
At times. It'd be interesting.
It'll be good.
Fun.
Yeah.
Thursdays at 9 o'clock. Thursdays at 9 o'clock. Make sure that you tune in for the Road to Cheltenham. That's when it's always going to be.
You're going to try and get here?
I'll be here some Thursdays, not every Thursday, but I'll be here a few,
We can get him on the blower.
Brilliant. Yeah.
We've got some opinions to throw at you now. Do you want to
crack on?
No,
please,
absolutely.
please.
Okay. You were going to start with Altior, weren't you?
I was.
Because I've put up Altior for the Ryanair, which lots of people say rubbish. It's a non-runner. Why have I tipped a non-runner? You didn't think that was a mad opinion?
No, I think that could end up being. A lot will depend on what happens, obviously, this weekend. I personally think whichever one wins on Saturday will end up in the King George. The runner-up won't. I can't see them reimposing in the King George. But I think Altior could end up in the Ryanair if they're thinking about stepping up in trip. Even if he wins the King George, if he doesn't hit the line hard, will you run him in the Gold Cup, and then having gone 2.5 and 3, do you drop all the way back to 2 miles? I actually think you read Nicky Henderson time and again, how fast Altior is at home, how well he works. He's not telling us lies. He obviously does do that. I actually think it's fences that slow him down a bit.
Okay.
Why?
I think he's careful. He minds himself. He's a bit careful. He can get a little bit high at times, and I think that for a 2 mile chaser, and that's why he has a vulnerability all the time. You watch this race even, he comes to join Undersaw in last year's Tingle Creek. Nico sits back up on him, but he's going away to beat Undersaw. The race is all over, but then when we're getting to the last, all of a sudden the race starts to come back on, and when they jump the last, they touched down together. From going by him, the fences slowed Altior down. It didn't slow Undersaw down, but in a matter of strides at the back of the last, Altior's on top again. I think fences is what's slowing Altior down, not the trip.
At the end of the celebration chase, Nicky Henderson said, I wouldn't be. He's saying that he needs to go up in trip. He's telling us that, so we're going to head towards the King George. The King George is the plan. You wouldn't do this for the Ryanair. The problem with the argument is the Gold Cup's up here, the Champion Chase is up here, the Ryanair isn't. So that's why many people think. I mean, that is the way that some people think. They think the two traditional races are.
That's prestige, but when you're standing in Cheltenham, how'd you get on this week? I had 2 winners. I won the Ryanair and the JLT. Still 2 winners.
I agree with you. So I think when it comes to it, I think they will go Ryanair. I feel that they'll think they're not going to duck the festival with a 4-time festival winner, are they? And and the King George has a very good record of providing a stepping stone for Ryanair winners.
And obviously in the past they did for Champion Chase winners. One man came back and Edgerton Blue went up. But I think having gone long early in the season, the temptation will be to stay out and trip. And I think 10, 20, 12 to 1, whatever Lydia got on the Ryanair.
14 higher.
14
higher.
Isn't lunacy.
High praise, not lunacy. Yeah.
Might
I didn't say we wouldn't disagree all the time. I said we would agree at times, and that's one we do agree on.
It might be nice for the race. Do you think for the Ryanair to have a star horse to go and win the race?
Yeah.
But hang on now, Undersaw won one.
Yeah.
He's a star horse, and then you look at the novice chases at the festival. I'd say, looking at the form now, the new novice chase could be the strongest form from Cheltenham last year. We call it an intermediate trip, but those races are getting competitive. The Ryanair, last year's Ryanair with Frodon winning, was a compelling race to watch.
Let's talk about a horse that could either go for the Champion Chase or the Ryanair. You were thinking about Defi de Searle, and there were some points you wanted to make about the way he jumps.
I think he jumps rather than hurdles, and 2 mile chasers are inclined to hurdle rather than jump. Defi gets quite high in front. Obviously he's a bit blocked by Politolog there, so you can't quite see how high he got. But again, going to the second fence, if you look at the distance from Politolog's tail to Defi de Searle's nose, as Politolog jumps the second fence, not on a long stride, the gap is widened fractionally. That's over the first 2 fences, and again we'll pick him up now in a few minutes at the top of the hill when Barry Geraghty asked him for a jump. to hold his position and keep him in the race where he is, watch the height that Defi Desai goes.
Yeah.
That's not the way a 2-miler jumps.
That pushes you towards the Ryanair, doesn't it? Not the champion chase.
That's just the way he jumps. He's a jumper, not a hurdler. He jumps over his fences, not across the top of them. And to me, that could catch you out in a champion chase. That said, when he got very long at the second last, he was long and low, but that's when you're riding him and going for it, and you can't do that all the way in a championship race. So I think he could end up in the Ryanair, and that could make Altior think about it.
Yeah, all of those have knock-on implications. You wouldn't have thought that Altior should really be in a position of being scared of Defi Desai.
No, you wouldn't, but if you're going to come back from a King George with Altior, presuming he wins Saturday and wins a King George, and this is all hypothetical, you're looking at the Ryanair, or not the Ryanair, the champion chase without Altior. Is it a weaker division? You have Shaq and Poursoir coming through, you have Douvan back, you have Kylas Emery, I'm sure there's more. There's not jumping out at me at the moment. Ballyosheen won the other day.
I was going to mention Ballyosheen, same colours as well.
He's always just looked a fraction shy of a Grade 1 horse. He's a brilliant jumper. Not unlike Defi Desai, he's a good jumper. He jumps. Ballyosheen is electric. He quickens the last 2 strides to a fence, which is the absolute opposite to Altior, who to me slows the last 2 strides to a fence.
So every Thursday night we're having Ruby reacting at the start of the show, and then we're also going to be talking about some tweets that come through, because we get some regular conversations from regular readers of Road to Cheltenham, and we've got a couple that we're going to address right now. Starting with, this is one obviously for you, Ruby. What do you think about that?
Is that for me?
Yeah, it is, I reckon so.
Faugheen have to wonder whether a horse who shows intermittent ignorance around an obstacle should ever be going chasing. Greg, I suppose Faugheen went chasing because it was a drop in grade to begin with, and the easiest way to win a race with Faugheen for my money was to run the beginner's chase. And William Mullins found a beautiful opportunity for him at Punchestown, great track, but the quality of the opposition was much weaker than what Faugheen has had to take on over hurdles. He jumped adequately well. He made a mistake at the ditch at the bottom of the hill and pegged at the third last, but he will learn from it.
What did he do here? He's galloped into the bottom?
He did what he does over hurdles, except in a hurdle race he just kicked the hurdle out of his way. He realised at the last second, I can't quite do that here, and bunny hopped almost. He will have to learn to come back under Paul and sit onto his hocks in that sort of a position when he gets really tight.
But you referred to him doing that in hurdles. Is he actually going to learn, is the thing, isn't it? That's his characteristic. He throws a bad one in.
He does, and even there when he backed off, he got fractionally too high behind for the height he got in front. But he will learn, he will get better at it. Just wouldn't be going back down and tripping him.
What makes him a very good hurdler is going to make him a less than average chaser jumping wise?
Yeah, possibly, because he could kick the odd hurdle out of the ground, but I think when he goes, this was 2.5, I wouldn't be surprised. He'll stick at 2.5 for the time being. Christmas and Limerick probably 2.5 soft ground, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him going a bit further when he gets into hotter and better races and the tempo is up.
Can you see him turning up at the festival in any chase?
Patrick Mullins, the 4-mile national chase. Could be a possibility, and why not? I mean, he's a genuine Grade 1 horse, and the 4-miler I think could have, look, if he was to run there, he was third in last year's Stayers, and I think his biggest danger will be the second in last year's Stayers, Sam Spinner.
We're definitely going to disagree about that. I'm looking forward to conversations about Sam Spinner during the course of that. Ruby thinks that Sam Spinner could win the national chase.
You don't?
It's not the 4-miler anymore. It's 3 miles and 5.5 or 6. I think Sam Spinner is made for it, even his style of racing.
You don't?
I don't, no.
What do you think he's made for?
I think that I just don't think he's good enough. I don't think he jumps well enough, and I don't think he will be good enough for it. And I wonder whether the whole enterprise is going to wear on him after a while as well.
He's a bit careful and does get a bit high, but I think he stays forever and a bit.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And I think the race would suit him.
What do you think about the drop back in trip?
I would have left it where it was. It was in a much better starting position where it was. I know there was 2 extra fences, but where it's been moved to, it's 1 fence, sharp left-hand bend down a hill. Not sure they'll get the results they were hoping for. Reducing the numbers and maybe upping exactly who could ride in the race, but I think I would have actually changed the conditions backwards. I wouldn't have let in the quality of horse that's in it.
Yeah, because it used to be for horses that hadn't won a race of any sort prior to the start of that season, didn't it?
It was, and I think by allowing at Faugheen or at Sam Spinner into it.
They're going to get a lot of horses in their comfort zone very early.
They're dragging too many ordinary horses from too far out. So I would have changed the conditions back and made Faugheen and Sam Spinner go to the RSA and let the lesser ones run on the 4 mile.
Hallelujah, that would be absolutely fantastic, but they're not going to go back on that, are they? I mean, that was the drive towards sort of quality of Cheltenham, wasn't it?
But I think the quality, they're only getting 3 and 4 quality horses in an 18-20 runner race, and it's too much for the others.
Yeah, it's 33 to 1 bar 4, isn't it?
Yeah, unfortunately,
taking
that's the way I'd have gone.
Yeah. Okay.
We've got another tweet as well that we can address.
This for you, yeah.
Yeah, this is Maddie Plale from who works for the Racing Post. So she was making the point. Interesting observations with Santini. Hope the wind up works. It seemed ironic that they were quick to blame the ground at the time when his form reads 1 point to point on soft, 1 soft, 1 heavy, 3 soft, 1 soft, 1 soft, 3 good to soft, 2 soft, 1 soft. So let's have a look at the race as in ones for wins. And I didn't read that very well, Maddie. I do apologise, but you get the gist. She makes the point that the ground is perfectly fine for Santini. I just didn't like the way he jumped. I didn't think Sandown would particularly suit him. I think he was aggravated and distracted by Now McGinty on his inside there, who went out to make the running, putting the brakes on like that alongside him a few times. But he just didn't have any kind of verve. He looked lazy. He looked steady. And immediately afterwards, I know that Nicky Henderson was talking about not going for the King George. We'll hear from Nicky in a moment. What do you make of this,
You were
Ruby?
still happy with your 33 to 1 in the Gold Cup about this?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's all about price, isn't it? He's now a 10 to 1 shot. I'd backed him at 33s in March, and I'm not giving up on that.
But how could any horse be 10 to 1 in the Gold Cup for this performance? Now, I know he's had a wind up since. His head carriage there is quite high, which would suggest he's looking for a little more air than he's getting. I think he jumped particularly well. What I didn't like was how little reaction there was to Nico de Bonneville's urgence. His reactions were so slow, they were so lethargic, and he was all out, not idling, to beat the runner-up, who jumped terrible. Santini jumped brilliant. That's about as far from a Gold Cup performance as you can get.
But if you go back to the RSA chase, you were talking about a horse that was having just his 3rd ever start over fences. He'd had an interrupted preparation, and he ran top of the game really close. Delta worked behind him. That is good form.
Alboon Photo won the Gold Cup with 1 run over fences last year. So, no, he'd enough for runs, and I don't know about Delta work on top of the game. Delta work was a per temps hurdle winner, top of the game. Yeah, he's a fine horse, but got well beaten by Labago Ride. They blamed tactics in Kempton.
They were right,
I
weren't they?
I don't know is that form as strong as people think.
Okay, well, let's see what Nicky Henderson made of Santini, because I spoke to him immediately after the race.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't even think he'd won. And it did look laboured. It was hard work. It's hard work ground. I think you have to remember it's only his 4th steeplechase of his life, but it wasn't as if they were going that quick. He was getting a lead. I think the leader was reluctant, and he was sort of slowing up into his fences, but they've run a terrific race, and they've helped us along the way, because I certainly wouldn't have wanted to be making it. It is very soft, but I don't know that should be a real big problem. He's a big, strong horse. I think it looked very rusty and quite laboured. I think you have to conclude that didn't look like a horse that was going to win the King George. So I think we take that one out of the way. But I think actually even Richard said he was surprised I put him in it. I said, well, I'm sorry I did, because only actually in the Feltham last year, he was a good 3rd, but the track really seemed plenty sharp enough for him. You've got to go to the RSA really to see his best performance, and I think the reason that was so good was he'd come in on an absolutely shocking preparation. He had done the fluid, got the vaccination thing that we had to go through completely did us in, and he couldn't run in the Reynoldstown, which was the plan, to get some experience, and then he was lame with a foot problem. And how he got to Cheltenham, I have no idea. A lot of hard work by a lot of people. And for what he did then, you'd have to say, well, this is a massive good horse if he can do that. He hasn't come out and started the season with a bang. I'll be the first to admit. But we've got plenty of time to work on it, and plenty of, bit of exploration and a bit of work. He's just got to sharpen up.
Yes.
You all agree with that? He's got to sharpen up.
Absolutely. I mean, immediately after the race, the issue was where would he actually run? Because Nick Henderson was talking about having the Cotswold Chase. I thought as we got nearer to the Cotswold Chase, he was thinking it's likely to be bottomless ground, and he might think, I don't know whether I fancy that, and maybe
Over
the Devon
Gold Cup
Chase.
trip,
exactly.
which has been a woeful trial as well, hasn't
Yeah, because it's you can imagine, can't you, the scenario whereby they'd back off that cut.
Yeah.
But then, obviously, since then, it emerged that he had made a noise, and you've noted the way the horse was holding his head, and he's had the wind up. So that's kind of resolved the issue of, because the immediate discussion was, what are you going to do until January? And I was really surprised he wasn't in the Ladbrokes Trophy. This is all academic now, obviously.
And I would be pitching towards Leopardstown. I think he's made for the track, and I actually think he's a Grand National horse. I think he's a high class horse, but for the million, I'd be pitching him with the Grand National.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that. I mean, he looks like a Grand National horse, doesn't he?
The road to Cheltenham slash
Aintree.
Yeah, and Punches Time.
Catchy.
Yeah. It's got legs, hasn't it?
I think so. I think so. So, I mean, the point of this is tune in on a Thursday evening at 9 o'clock to see Ruby completely trash everything that I have spent 48 hours writing on a Monday and Tuesday.
So you're still going to put your stuff on the website for us to read. We can read it.
Yeah, it'll be published on a Wednesday morning. And then we come in here on a Thursday and we get Ruby's reaction. We get all of your reaction as well. We get some really.
Because you get tired listening to mine, so send yours in as well.
We get some really good chat actually via Twitter from the Road to Cheltenham. Some really good opinions, really interesting stuff. And then we're also going to try and look ahead to the significant events of the weekend, not with just focusing on what the horses are going to win those races, more what happens if beyond that. So if X happens.
Yeah,
what does that mean? Yeah.
If you look at this weekend, if Frodon doesn't get the trip in the Betfair Chase, he's obviously coming back to the Ryanair. So do you take Ryanair now, or do you chance having a few quid each round him in the Gold Cup? I don't know, but there's loads of implications from all the racing at the weekend.
Absolutely.
And I mentioned earlier, it's burst into life a bit quicker this year, isn't it? Because of the rain. I think you see Thurles, the feature race today, is an absolute cracker. I think the whole season.
Then you look at the ground in Thurles and how lucky Irish racing is to have it good yielding in place.
Yeah.
The driest place in Ireland.
Yeah. Looking forward to it all. Looking forward to your every Thursday, so starting next week?
Yes, starting next week. And also, I should say that Ruby and I are shortly going to be on Instagram. I'm about to lose my Instagram virginity.
Right.
I've never been on Instagram.
I don't think it'll be...
You don't think that the Earth will move?
Longevity. No, I don't.
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Okay. Well, you can check it out. We will be answering questions on Instagram. If you go to the racingtv.com page and Instagram page, you can find us there, and we'll be chatting.
It's Insta now.
Is it Insta?
Get down with the keys, will you?
Get down with the lingo.
Yeah. He's on it more than Tom Stanley.
I'm massively off the pace. Massively.
My Insta page.
Yeah. Can't find it.
Really.
Yeah. Really looking forward to the Road to Cheltenham with Ruby and Lydia every Thursday 9 p.m. and say do join them on Instagram Live very shortly indeed on the Racing TV page.